या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सरस्वती रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तत्सै 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 नमो नमः. A very warm good afternoon to everyone, respected authorities from Research Foundation of India, respected members of S&S Law College as a part of IMI group of institutions, dear participants, I welcome you all on the behalf of Team RFI and Team S&S Law College. Well, like all other important aspects, legal studies and legal research is one of them. Looking into this dynamic scenario of our country, it is getting very much important to learn the different aspects of legal studies and also explore the new avenues of research so that we as an educators can contribute to the best of our capacity in favor of our students who holds the future of our nation. It is very critical to focus on, keep an eye on legal research if you want to solve any legal problem. While the technique and pattern can be so long and tedious at times, the truth is that proper and particular research can help turn the odds into your favor in many cases and circumstances. All you should do is work with a group of legal experts, legal mentors who rely on delivering the best research and ensuring that everything was handled at the best level. Research in law is an essential and specific ingredient of the procedure of law rectification. Legal research backs up everything with authentic sources, evidence, and even historical data. You get to have complete knowledge about the issue, and all of that information may be harnessed professionally. You cannot memorize a million cases, and you are not looking for a needle in a haystack, but you can master the overall complete method of studies. Hence, through this 7 days of the FDP on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law, we all will be learning the different parameters and topics to explore the legal research methodically. Moving ahead, I would like to introduce you all about Research Foundation of India. Research Foundation of India is strictly working for the social upliftment and higher education quality and Indian research promotions in the form of events like international, national conferences, seminars, workshops, symposium, and many other activities. RFI works for the integration of intellectual ideas across the globe to fulfill the thirst of innovation of humanity. Research Foundation of India is concerned with improving the educational process by encouraging scholarly inquiry related to education and practical application of research results. Research Foundation of India is working for the research and development of higher education. It has signed MOU with many top universities from India like Symbiosis, AIT, Sage University, Apex, Eklavya, B.R. Ambedkar Central University, Atal Bihari Hindi University, Gujarat University, and many more institutions like IMI group of institutions. RFI members are faculty, researchers, graduate students, and other distinguished professionals with rich and diverse expertise in educational research. RFI does not take any financial sponsor from any government body. Research Foundation of India has organized 500 plus international conferences and workshops, FDPs, and symposia all over the world. Currently, RFI is having 87 chapters in India and 18 chapters in Asian and other countries and categorized in 5 boards: West, East, South, North, and Central Zone. So I again welcome you all on the behalf of RFI by introducing our core team of RFI, starting with our chairman, the founder of Research Foundation of India, Dr. Saurabh Jain, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir, Chief Managing Director, RFI, Dr. Reshu Jain, President, Research Foundation of India; Professor Ajay Jain, President, Central India Board, Research Foundation of India; North Board, India President, Shri Amit Chand, New Delhi; North Board President, Dr. Priyadarshini Aghnihotri; Central India Board President, Professor Ajay Jain; North Board India President, Dr. Devdutt Indoria; West Board India President, Professor Abhinish Tarosia; National Convener, Dr. Rajat Sharma Sir; MP State President, Dr. Manish Dubey Sir; MP State Convener, Dr. Sanjay Prasad; MP Secretary, myself, Dr. Parul Sharda; Vice President, CIB, Central India Board, Dr. Sangeeta Baruka Ma'am; Joint Secretary, CIB, Dr. Subrato Dey; Joint Secretary, Indore Zone, Ranjana Razak; President, World Virtual Conference Forum, Dr. Prakashani Tiwari Ma'am; MP State Vice President, Research and Innovation Wing, Dr. Deepali Ambe Prasad; President, Indore Zone, Professor Kuldeep Agnihotri; Dr. Indra Dikshit, Joint Secretary, Indore Zone; Dr. Seema Agarwal, Joint Secretary, Research, RFI MP State; Dr. Piyush Soni, President, Bhopal Zone; Co-Chapter Head, Indore Zone, Professor Yashashri Dubey; President, Vice President, World Virtual Conference Forum, Dr. Priyanka Chawla; Vice President, Research and Innovation, Indore City, Professor Nikita Sharma; Vice President, Student, Indore Zone, Dr. Namrata Kapoor; Convener, Indore Zone, Dr. Gaurav Malhotra; Co-Chapter Head, Indore Zone, Dr. Manisha Pandey; Central India Board Office in charge, Ms. Priyanshi Dubey; all the chapters, all officers of Madhya Pradesh RFI, Technical Head and Program Assistant, Mr. Yogaraj Pachle Sir. So this was the introduction about RFI, and now moving ahead, I would like to introduce about our chairman, Dr. Saurabh Jain Sir. Dr. Saurabh Jain is a chairman of Research Foundation of India. He is also appointed as a vice president of World Federation of Science and Technology and president of Engineering Research Foundation. Dr. Jain also involved in Research Foundation of India consultancy unit named Educational Research Analyzers Private Limited. Along with, he has also been involved in number of companies like ISSI Consultancy Services, Edu Academic Incorporation, ARGA, ERF, Ascent Tech Private Limited, Blueprint Publication Delhi, and Black Pearl International Publication, and many others. He has been awarded as a gold medalist in Master of Technology from Government Engineering College, and he did first doctorate in Power System Engineering and second in Control System Engineering. Dr. Jain has organized more than 500 international and national events like conferences, FDPs, SDPs, workshops, talks in multidisciplinary area. He has published more than 100 research articles in international and national journals, along with published 35 reference and edited books, authored book in multidisciplinary areas. On the name of Dr. Jain, there are 5 patents and copyrights, and he has published from India. He is an expert of solar and renewable energy concepts. With these words, I request Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman, Research Foundation of India, to share his words of wisdom with us. Dr. Saurabh Jain, sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Parul Sadavaru. First of all, again, I would like to congratulate you for a faculty development program organized by S&S Law College Indore, Madhya Pradesh, on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. That is the fantastic topic, whatever chosen by Law College. For this faculty development program, we are focusing the different aspect, whatever guided by the different experts for the particular topic. And also, I would like to congratulate Chairman S&S Law College Indore, IMI Group of Institution, Mrs. Nikita Pandey, Management Head, IMI Group of Institution, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta, Vice President, Law, S&S Law College Indore, Professor Rahul Joshi, Head of the Department, S&S Law College Indore. Today, expert and speaker, Dr. Mausami Datta, Professor Geography and Vice Principal, Nagidas Khandwala College, Autonomous, Mumbai. Professor Dr. Sukumar Gupta, Chief Managing Director, Research Foundation of India. Mr. Mohit Rakwar, Assistant Professor, IMI College Group of Indore, Madhya Pradesh. Professor Dr. Priyadarshini Aghnihotri, North Board President, Research Foundation of India, Professor Ajay Jain, Central India Board President, RFI, and all head, chapter head, co-chapter head, president and vice president of Research Foundation of India. Again, I would like to congratulate to organizer and all the experts, and special congratulate to participant to make that FDP success. So thank you very much. Over to Dr. Parusada. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words always motivate us to do more. Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. With these words, I request our respected management head, Mrs. Nikita Pandey ma'am, to shower his words of appreciation with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're clearly audible.
Okay. I'm basically using two devices, so just give me a moment.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. So a very warm good afternoon to all of the respective dignitaries from Research Foundation of India, academicians from all over the country. Am I properly audible? Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, you
Yeah.
need to mute the other device.
Yeah, okay. Is it audible now properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So a very warm good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries from Research Foundation of India, academicians from all over the country, and my dear faculty members. I, Nikita Pandey, Management Head of IMI Group, take this opportunity to welcome you on the behalf of SNS Law College in association with IMIRC, IMI, SIMS, sponsored by World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, and Edu Academic. Our institution was set up in 2008. Since then, we are consistently creating history by giving its best to the students by our well-qualified faculties. We have a world-class infrastructure. That facilitates excellence in teaching, research, consulting, and other professional activities with a long-standing reputation for innovation. Our desire to do things differently lies in our foundation. It has been wisely said that if you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. We at IMI believe in imparting best education to all the students that join our group, but it becomes our prime responsibility to train our teachers to educate the young minds with updated knowledge and tools that are trending. Hence, it is our prime responsibility to train and make opportunities available to our faculty so that they can explore the new world of a better society through learning and implementing research. As the theme suggests, this 1 week FDP would be going to polish the skills in the area of innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. Also, it is going to a great opportunity to network with faculty fraternity from across the nation and get benefited out of this 7-day cohesive research discussion. I hereby would like to compliment the organizing committee of FDP, RFI, World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, and Edu Academic for this noble work. Thank you, and looking forward for such training to boost up the knowledge and expertise of my faculties. All the best. Thank you, Paru ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nikita ma'am. It has always been nice to hear the words of motivation from you. Thank you so much. And moving ahead with the session, inspiration is some mysterious blessings which happen when the wheels are turning smoothly. So we seek the blessings and words of appreciation from our Chief Managing Director of Research Foundation of India, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta sir. He is having BE from MSCP Merit Bhopal, MTech Merit Bhopal from in 2005. He is also a PGDM, DMS, LLB, and PhD from ISECT University Bhopal. He had published more than 50 research papers in national and international journals. He is having a rich 40 years of experience in industrial field and around 10 years of experience in educational field. Recently, Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta visited USA and visited various renowned universities like Northeastern University, Boston, USA, Harvard University, Manchester's Institute of Technology, Boston University, etc. As far as association with RFI is concerned, he is considered as one of the founder member of RFI. And looking to his dedication and hard work in RFI, he has now been promoted as CMD, that is Chief Managing Director Director of Research Foundation of India. I welcome you, sir, and I seek your blessings for the success of this FDP. Over to you, Dr. Shukman Gupta, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everyone. This is Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, CMD RFI. I feel honored to be invited to this faculty development program on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. This FDP is scheduled from 2nd August, that is today, to 9th August. The date-wise planning is as follows. Day 1, 2nd August, Introduction to Research Literature Review, Identification of Research Gaps, Setting of Objectives, and Hypothesis by Dr. Maushmi Datta ma'am. Day 2, 3rd August, Research Methodology in Law by Professor Dr. Devshri Mukherjee. Day 3, 4th August, Quantitative and Qualitative Method in Legal Research by Dr. Rangaswamy Stalin. Day 4, 5th August, Statistical Test and Data Analysis in SPSS by Sanjay Sharma sir. Day 5, 6th August, Interdisciplinary Research in Law by Dr. Romi Seni. Day 6, 7th August, Plagiarism and Ethical Research in Law by Dr. Archana Ramka. Day 7, that is 9 August, Report Writing by Dr. Parul Sharma. So on 8th August, there will be a break. As we know, this program is organized by S&S Law College, Indore, Research Foundation of India, and JHERF, in association with World Virtual Conference Forum, Indore Management Institute of Research Center, Indore Management Institute, IMI Business School, S&S Law College, Indore, Chapent Institute of Management Studies, Indore. This program is sponsored by World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, Academic Research Guide Association, and EduAcad. As we know that the activities of Research Foundation of India is carried out by a core group of academic and support staff and a large network of senior academicians in higher education globally. The real challenge before RFI is to expand activities in higher education to keep ahead of the curve of rising domestic and global demand. Its mission is to improve the quality and standard of higher education. We at RFI are expanding our activities from India to abroad to become global platform. It is all because of your love and affection only. I have been attending various FDPs, conferences, seminars, webinars, workshops organized by RFI from the beginning and learned a lot. As we know, learning is a never-ending process. It has been long believed that the most important resource that any institution of higher education has its faculty members who teach knowledge and skills to students. Such FDPs have proven to be successful for improving teaching skills in higher education. It produces promising outcomes in the learning and teaching practices. The FDP is a critical factor towards building the strong foundation of an educational system to ensure quality education. Now it's my honor and privilege to welcome all the dignitaries, especially Mrs. Ankita Gupta, MD, IMI Group of Institution Indore, Mrs. Aishi Gupta, VP Law, S&S Law College Indore, Mrs. Nikita Pandey, Management Head, IMI Group of Institutions Indore, Professor Rahul Joshi, HOD S&S Law College and convener of this program, Professor Aviraj Singh Chauhan, S&S Law College and coordinator of this FDP, Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra, S&S Law College and coordinator of this FDP. I would also like to welcome Mr. Mohit Traikwar, Assistant Professor, IMI College, Indore. My special thanks to Dr. Saurabh Kumar Jain, Chairman and CEO RFI, who has given permission for organizing this wonderful FDP. I am thankful to Professor Ajay Jain, Dr. Pradarshini Abhinatri, and the entire RFI members, along with participants and management of S&S Law College Indore. I'm also thankful to all who have given their input in this FDP and all participants who made this FDP a successful event. The participants are not those who are sitting here, but the content of this session shall be shared through electronic media and be available for everyone with the permission of the resource person. Take care of your health. In today's time, the greatest wealth is health. For more information, you may contact through our official mail ID info@researchfoundationofindia.com, or you can visit our website www.researchfoundationofindia.com. Thanks for your patience. Thank you again. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Your leadership lies in your simplicity that you take each one of the team members' name and make them feel special about being a participant and being a member of Research Foundation of India. Moving ahead, the growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. We have with us a young and charismatic leader, VP Law, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta ma'am with us. We seek your words of appreciation, ma'am. Over to you, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta ma'am.
Thank you, Parul ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I heartily welcome all the respected members of Research Foundation of India. I would like to especially thank Dr. Saurabh Jain and Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta for initiating this FDP and providing a platform to institutions for organizing such academic events. I would also like to thank my team at SNS Law College, who have shown true dedication and determination. Also, I would like to congratulate my team for organizing this one-week FDP for enhancement of research and innovative teaching learning methods. Law is an instrument of social change and an essential ingredient in any social investigation. The study of human behavior, its fundamental interactions, attitude relating to law studies is legal research. We often study the relationship between the world and law, a world that law intends to regulate in legal research. The orderly set investigation of problems with the law, such as codes, acts, constitution, etc., is legal research. As other types of research, legal research sounds simple and easy, but in reality, it is very, very tough job. The eligibility to conduct legal research is essential for to be a lawyer, to be a judge, and legal scholar, irrespective of the arena of different practices. The most basic and crucial step in law research is to find out the specific topic related to law, leading case, executing to the facts in question, and then to do additional research on the same. This is what legal research basically means, but it is actually way intense than what we think it is. At last, I would like to say these kinds of initiatives like organizing this FDP are a must to explore and enhance the new avenues in the field of law, because it is to understand and realize the legal doctrines, principle of law, etc. Legal analysis is beneficial for teachers, students, as well as for advocates and law firms. By doing legal research, a law teacher and student can explore their studies and be more involved in it. I would like to thank my team for organizing this FDP and wish them all the success. Over to you, Parul ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words are definitely being a source of motivation for us. Thank you so much. Moving ahead, being a part of team and also playing a role of leader is a trait which has been shown by our respected Professor Rahul Joshi sir. And now I request Rahul Joshi sir to share his words of motivation to all of us. Over to you, Rahul sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I clearly audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahul Joshi, HOD Law Department, SNS Law College, Indore. First of all, I'm welcoming all the dignitaries of Research Foundation of India and our Honorable Director, Mrs. Ankita Gupta, ma'am, our Management Head, Nikita Pandey, ma'am, and VP Academic Affairs, Ayushi Gupta, ma'am, our Principal, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, sir, and all the team members of SNS Law College and IMI Group of Institution. and all the participants. Welcome you all in our 7-day FDP program on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law. Our 7-day FDP programs includes introduction to research, research methodology in law, qualitative and quantitative methods in legal research, statistic tools, interdisciplinary research, plagiarism and ethical research in law, and report writing. In this 7-day program, I assure you that you will acquire unique knowledge in the field of legal research education. And this first day of FDP, I express our gratitude in favor of Research Foundation of India and our Honorable Director, Mrs. Ankita Gupta ma'am, to give a wonderful opportunity to us. I once again welcome you all in this legal research journey. Thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me. Over to you, Shivangi ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the facilitation. I hope I am audible to you.
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I, Assistant Professor Shivangi Amelia, feel grateful to welcome our honorable management, respected faculty members, and one and all present over here for the first day of 1-week FDP program organized by SNS Law College. Thanks to all for coming online to join this educational webinar. And now I'm pleased to share that the distinguished guest to honor us with their presence today as a speaker for the FDP's first day is none other than Professor Dr. Mausami Datta. She has qualified in various fields like PhD in management and PhD in geography. With 26 years of experience and deep diving into numerous major minor research work and industry consultancy projects. Leading the way, she is also the vice principal of Nagindas Khandwala College, Mumbai, and also working as a guide of geography in the University of Mumbai. Technical skills such as educational technology, remote sensing, GIS, and GPS has always been her area of interest. She has also published 85 papers, one reference book for geography, and 9 textbooks. Her international pursuits are extended from University of UK to University of USA. Competing globally, she has organized more than 20 international and state-level conferences and workshops. She is also a life member of 7 national professional bodies and annual member of 1 international body. Venturing into the award session, she has won awards like Best Assemble Faculty Award, Best Researcher Award, Award for Contribution in Research, National Builder Award, and the Real Superwoman Award in the year 2020, and many more. It's my honor to welcome you, ma'am, and may I now request Professor Dr. Mausami Datta to take over the proceedings. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the screen and the platform with me. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta ji, Dr. Saurabh Jain ji, and Dr. Ajay Jain ji, who is always in touch with me. The other members who are present here, Mrs. Ayushi Gupta, Professor Rahul Joshi, and other dignitaries. It's my honor to be starting off the FDP program. Today, you have to excuse me for my bad throat. I'm running a very bad cold, so I think I will be extremely slow today in my presentation, but at the same time, I will be giving the best justice to the topic of understanding research and put a kickstart to this FDP program. With your permission, I take a second to share my screen and start with my topic. Thank you. My presentation is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, So for this FDP on innovative teaching learning methods and research in law, my topic is Introduction to Research, with special emphasis to literature review, identification of research gaps, setting of objectives, and hypothesis. My presentation outline will be the same as the topic, that is understanding research. If we really do not understand research, we really cannot have we cannot have research the true essence. So we start today with understanding research, the literature review, the do's of literature review, which is very, very important. And from literature review, how can we how can we identify the research gaps? How do we set the objectives and hypothesis? And definitely I end my presentation with some examples from law, although I don't belong to that field, but I have tried my best with a little bit of knowledge of research which I have to give full justice on the different researches which are taking place in law. So introduction to research, I would rather call this as understanding research, So when, actually, research word is very misinterpreted in many a times. Sometimes we just copy down the facts from the books and websites and put it together. So when we are just taking ideas from somewhere, some books, websites, and put them in all together, we feel that we are researching, right? But it's not exactly that. Research is learning. Research is an investigation. It's not an haphazard investigation. It is an investigation through a process. So research is something which is very, very logical. It is something when you're investigating something, and it is something of your very own. I say, you can say research is the heart of a human body. So a heart is something which is something of your own. You just cannot collect it from here and there and say that it is your research. Let's see at the picture which I have shown you here. The student is quite surprised when the guide has said that whatever you have written in your research paper is absolutely wrong. And he's quite proud at the same time when he's saying that he has copied everything right from the internet. So when we have Professor Google around, we just cannot go wrong. So when we copy something from there, Professor Google is never wrong, but it's an information area. It is not something dealing with facts. So this is just not research where you copy from the books, from the websites, from the Google, and you integrate the matter. Research is something which has a much more greater depth. Research is something where you explore an idea, where you solve an issue or a problem. If there is no problem, there is no research. If there is no problem, you cannot have any objectives to the research. If there is no objective, there is no hypothesis. If there is no hypothesis, you cannot prove your point. So research is something when you explore something new, what others have already done, and you are doing it. It is not called research. Research has that uniqueness in it. I said in the previous slide that research is an investigation. There's an investigation like in a process. So research is something which is very, very organized. When you carry on your inquiry in an organized manner to solve a problem, that is called a research. A research is something when you have a problem and for that problem you have brought out a solution. Research is something where you find where you find out the hidden truth. We can say research is a journey from the known to the unknown. When you just take up a topic, it might look to be very easy. But when you really go inside the topic, the depth of the topic, it is actually never ending. It is never. You are going from a known world to the unknown world. But you should remember one thing. Researching means solving a problem. You're dealing up with a problem and you're finding a solution. How are you finding a solution? You're finding a solution in a very, very organized manner. You're finding a solution in a very, very, just like a process. That is called a research. So research, now in one sentence, what can you call a research? It is something which is very, very organized, something which is very, very structured and definitely purposeful. If the modern definition of research is that if you do not have any usefulness of the research, it is not considered to be a research at all. Your research should be such which should be multidisciplinary in nature. Your research should be such which should solve some problems of the society, or it can be of any help to the policy making. So it has to have a purpose, and definitely whoever, you and me, when we have gone through the process of research, it is an area to gain knowledge, immense experience, immense confidence you get from research. So research begins when you want to know something. Research is concerned with increasing our understanding, and research helps definitely in problem solving and to make decisions. When your research can really solve any problem, and it will be helpful to others, it can be helpful to the society, it will help in the policy making, you can really boost around saying that you are a researcher. So friends, research encourages scientific and inductive thinking. Besides, it really puts your brain to use, Besides promoting the development of logical habits of thinking and organization. Only thinking will not serve your purpose. Whatever you think, it has to be in a very organized manner. It has to be put into words. So research, the word may be very, very simple, but actually it is not simple at all. Definitely research is something which is very, very interesting. I always tell my research students, first of all, you just fall in love with your topic. You fall in love with your topic, and then only you can, you have to really work from the heart. Definitely brains are required in research, but this combination of heart and brains can cause miracle in research. To make this miracle happen in research, the most unwanted part, but the most interesting and the important part is literature review. Tell me, my friends among you, how many of you really like to do literature review? I cannot see you physically. If somebody can't say something about literature review, whether you like it, you find it boring, you find it is not necessary at all. Anything from your side, my friends? Yes?
I like to review so many literatures now.
You like to review the literature. Okay, why?
Because I'll know the subject in detail, and I'll find the gaps. What is the what has not been filled.
Fantastic. You know the subject in detail. That one word explains everything. If you do not like to read what others have already done, you will not know your subject very well, which is very, very important for research, isn't it? Isn't it? Anyone else? Yes. Anyone else have any idea about literature review? Anyone else have any idea about literature review? No, fine. Okay. I go with one idea only. That is, you gain some knowledge. Let us see. When I start with literature review, first of all, I'd like to tell you the do's of literature review. What you should remember when you're doing the literature review. You know, we sometimes feel that since literature review is something very, very, I'm so sorry for my throat today. Literature review is something very, very theoretical in nature. We just have to get hold of some flowery languages and write the review. No, your research should be very, very clear and very, very simple, using very, very plain language. There is no need to use any flowery languages, any multi-syllabic terms in your review of literature or any part of the research when you're doing. Never ever use any jargons. Now, what are jargons? Now, in every subject, you have some technical language. You all are coming from the background of law. In legal profession also, there may be so many technical languages which only the lawyers like you all and the judges, they must be using it frequently and they understand. If you use that word to me, I will not be able to understand. In research, we should have least use of jargons. That is the first step of writing a review of literature. I said before also, nowadays the concept of research has changed. The concept of research has crossed the boundaries of your own subject. It is something multidisciplinary in nature. So you may be doing a research in law, but the solutions and the recommendations will benefit the whole society. In that case, please do not use such a language which only the people from your profession only can understand and others don't. Sometimes I understand it becomes very difficult, but the use should be least. And whenever you're using it, please do explain what is the meaning of that jargon. The second do of writing your literature review is to use active voice. Use direct and clear sentences. Always remember, there is no need to stretch the sentences long. Use sentences which contains less words, which are more readable and easy to understand. Take, for example, I write, beautiful giraffes roam the savannah. Instead of that, I write in a different way out, savannah is roamed by beautiful giraffes. Why so? Why do I have to bring in some unnecessary words? You should be very, very direct when you're writing your literature review. Another tactic of writing an interesting literature review is to vary the length of the sentence. You know, some sentences should be short, some should be medium, and some should be long. You know, readers generally get tired. It is a human nature, get tired when they read very, very lengthy sentences. Okay, not only that, so you should have a mixture of both. Some are short, some are long. You know, this it has a psychological effect also. When in writing you have different types of lengths of sentences, it helps to hold the attention of the reader. It is psychological. So please do remember about the length of the sentences. Always be very, very clear about your tenses. Don't mix up past, present, future. No. Present tense is most common in your academic papers generally. Future tense is generally not used for literature review. You have past tense, some of the historic papers, and the present tense. Last but not the least, you should always make somebody else read the review. Literature review, you have to make others read. You know, for me, what is my main drawback? Whatever I write, I feel that is the best piece the world has ever produced. But it is not like that. It cannot happen like that. But I feel so. it's a drawback in me. So when I give to my peer, maybe my colleague, my friend, who can understand, who belong to the same subject, so he and she can tell me, no, Moshami, it is here you went wrong. It is here, it is not sounding proper. Because whenever you write something, you love that. It is human nature. Okay, so others will tell and take criticism in a proper manner. You might be thinking, why, when I'm coming here to talk about literature review, why am I giving this 5 points? Because I consider these 5 points as the 5 thumb rules of writing a review of literature. If you really remember these 5 thumb rules, what are those? Number 1, clear and plain style. Number 2, use of active voice. Number 3, vary your sentences, some long and some shorter ones. Use consistent tenses, and definitely make others read the review and give the feedback to you, and take that feedback in a positive manner. If you can really you can do these 5 things with your review of literature, it will come out to be a fantastic piece of writing. Now, I come to a very important point. Everything I know now, that what 5 things I'm supposed to do. But what is the aim? Why should I write in literature review? Why it is so very important for my research? Because it helps to integrate the findings with existing knowledge. It helps you to find out who else have studied about your topic in the past. It is very, very necessary. It is very important to find out that how the researchers, the previous researchers, have dealt with your topic in the past. Moreover, it helps you to understand in your topic what is not done. What is not done becomes a gap in research. What is not done by others and you are doing it, that is an excellent research. I told you, research is something which is new. When somebody has already done it, there is no point of doing it again. That is not a research. So you should do literature review to find out, whenever you decide a topic, who are the past researchers who have studied your topic, what have they studied about your topic, and what did they not study about your topic. What they did not study of your topic becomes the gap in your research. Moreover, you can justify yourself that why have you taken up this topic? Because this topic is very, very important and no one else have studied this topic the way I will be doing. That is why there is a gap in research, and that is why my doing this research is so very important. So my friends, every one of you must have realized now, review of literature is so very important part of your research. If you do not have a proper review of literature, the whole concept of research just falls apart. So, what is the purpose of the literature review? Yes, the purpose of researcher review is to review the writings of the people who have studied your topic in the past. Prior studies you find out. And moreover, it is an academic conversation. Maybe the topic is the same, but dealing the topic was different. So this is called brainstorming. This is called academic conversation, which is very much required for a research. It shows the knowledge of the topic. You just cannot get up early in the morning and whatever you think first, that becomes the topic of your research. Whenever you're doing a research, my friends, you should have proper knowledge of the topic. How will you know about the knowledge of the topic? When you try to find out who have studied about your topic. This will give you the knowledge of the topic. This will also give you an idea how to remain up to date with the research topic, current. I feel literature review is a stepping stone of the research. If you do not have a literature review, if you have not identified the gap, identification of the gap will show you the newness of your topic. If you have not done that, the research falls apart, as I said. Moreover, a good review of literature helps you to gain credibility. Anyone can come and tell me, you're doing a research on this, which was already done. But if you have a proper background study, you can say, definitely it was done. It was done by XYZ, A, B, C, D in this year, 1927, 35, 92, whatever it is. But they have studied this topic, and I am studying this. This is how my research is different from the past researches. This is why I called my research to be a newness. I have a problem. I have a new concept to study. So it helps to gain credibility. You understood, my friends here, that a review of literature is so very important. It gives you the base of research. Without a base of research, really you cannot do any research. Superficial researchers maybe sometimes get to a degree, but getting a degree is not enough. I always tell my research students, research is something which you do once in a lifetime. Utilize that time once in a lifetime. Do it properly. The satisfaction which you get, it is beyond any words. So friends, friends, let us now understand what is not a literature review and what is a literature review. I just go to the library, walk down. This is my research topic, get hold of some books. Yes, X has said this, Y have said this, Z have said this. My literature review is over. No, it is not that. It is not a descriptive summary, but you have to be critical and analytical. When you are taking the ideas of somebody else, when some past researchers you are taking as a literature review, always you should say, you should evaluate it critically, whether you actually believe in this concept or not. If not after every review, but at least at the end of the literature review, you can always say, critically, you have to evaluate it. My friends, if you can see the picture on the screen, this student is writing pages after pages. Obviously, when you write something which has got no sense, no, we write pages after pages. So it is not like that. It might be a short one, but it should be a critical evaluation. So literature review is not a descriptive summary, but it is a critical account of the studies which you are taking into hold. It is just not, and moreover, sometimes what we do, we don't write what others have thought about your research. You just present your own arguments. No, you should not go to that extent also. There should be a synthesis, a combination between what others have said and what you are saying. It is not an annotated bibliography. Annotated bibliography means whatever they have said, you explain. No, it is something argumentative. That means what they have said, what you are saying. An account of every existing piece of research. Suppose your topic is juvenile laws, maybe. So whatever you get hold of your books, you are taking out those books and you are writing everything. No, you should be very, very selective when you are choosing your literature review. So friends, once you know your topic very well, now you become choosy. You might take up 10 books or 10 journals, but you know all 10 journals are not supposed to be taken. You know, to make your critical mind work of a researcher, and you know which writings you have to take and which one you are not supposed to take it. So literature review is a critical account. It is a synthesis of others' argument as well as your argument. It is organized around ideas or arguments. It is just not copying and making the summary. And you have to be very, very choosy, because there might be thousands and lakhs of books. You cannot take all in your literature review. Please take those literature review which are close to the topic, which actually gives you an idea about the topic. There are various types of literature review. There are generally, over here, we see there are 4 types of literature review. Number 1 is narrative. Number 2 is systematic. Number 3 is argumentative. And number 4 is integrative. Now, what are the meanings of these 4 types of literature review? Narrative literature. What is narrative literature? When you just take some books and you write down what you feel about those literature and summarize the literature. Very, very simple. What is systematic literature? Systematic literature means according to time frame you write. 1927, X said this. 1950, Y said this. 1976, Z said this. So you know how your subject has developed from one point to the other. Number 3 is argumentative literature. What is argumentative literature? You take a book or a piece of writing and then you say whether you support the idea or you do not support the idea. Number 4 is integrative literature. Integrative literatures are generally carried on where the PhDs and the researchers are dealing with new frameworks, where you have lots of critics, lots of syntheses. But generally, you know, my friends, we carry on either systematic literature according to time frame. We don't run from one place to another. Whenever you're writing a literature review, maintain the time frame. I feel it is much more better. Or argumentative, or it can be a combination of systematic literature and argumentative literature, where while writing you write down according to time frame, and then at the end you write down which ideas you support and which you do not support. So it should not be a plain writing. You should have your own ideas also. You know, this is called a modern literature review. If you see old theses, old PhDs, they just simply write what others have written. But now the present one, how your research will be valuable when you put your brains also in writing. You know, my friends, research is not for everyone. Research is something which requires a critical mind, and a critical mind every one of us do not have. So use your critical mind to write down the literature review. So conducting a literature review also, you should plan it up properly. There are several steps. You should plan it up very properly. Number 1, you have to plan. Number 2, you have to research. Number 3, you have to organize. Number 4, you have to write. Let us plan. Now, when planning, maybe you have a long topic. You have to break your topics into some keywords and then search. Maybe the research topic is a cake. You will take out a narrow slice of cake from a larger one, and then you will search what are the literatures available on that topic. Let us see with the help of an example. Again, I'm telling you, my friends, I don't belong to law, but I have tried to find out what are the different researches that can happen, present researches which can happen in law. Take, for example, you are trying to do a research on human rights law, and there you're trying to do on NRC, National Register of Citizens. You must be knowing that nowadays NRC is really in news. So when you want to search, you can, and we know it started from Assam, okay? And you know, so you can always type or you can always search NRC problem in Assam. Okay, or from where did NRC come? What is NRC? And how some people, real citizens were also thrown out of the country. This has happened for NRC. Okay, so what are the loopholes of NRC? So different keywords you can find out. NRC in India, NRC in Assam, what is concept of NRC? So small words you find out. Try to search in different books, different journals, even in Google Scholar. Try to search. You will get good literatures relating to this. So take for example, even Rohingya refugees. That is a very big problem, no? The Tibetan Rohingya refugees, the problem which they are having. So many are homeless now. Okay, so even then, this also divided into parts: refugee problems, refugee crisis, Rohingya refugees, or Myanmar. They belong to Myanmar refugees. Different words you search, and then you go and search in the library or search in Google Scholar. You will find out very, very good literatures regarding to it. Take for example, you are from law. You are doing a research on Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. We have many. Nowadays it is in news, na? Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, even extradition treaty if you want to do. See how Mehul Choksi's case it is happening. So you see, with living examples, you can type their names and it will give a fantastic insight. And actually in law, you belong to such a subject. It is so very current in nature. Okay, so this way, small words you take out from your main research, main topic, and try to search. Your literature review will be really a interesting one. So now the question comes, where to search? You can search in the books, you can search in the journal articles, you can search in the newspapers. For you, newspapers are also very important. You can search the historical records. You must be citing cases, isn't it? Historical cases. That's what we have seen in movies. So you can see the historical records, commercial reports or government reports. You can also see theses and dissertations. But just like the research cat, please do not go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not an acceptable source. And moreover, your stand as a researcher goes down as you refer to Wikipedia. Please, it is an unacceptable source. What's happening? It's not moving. 1 second. Please give me a second while the slide is not moving now. 1 second. It's getting loaded. Yeah. So as I said, books and journals are very important sources of literature. When we were students, when we were doing our researches, a digital world was not very close to us that time. So the first thing which we used to do when you're doing a PhD is to go to the library. Library mein, what to do in the library? Go for books, search the journals which are there pertaining to your topic. So books and journals, going to the library, searching the books and the journals in the library has its own characteristics. It has its own pleasure. I'm sure nowadays, with due respect to everyone, many of the research scholars miss out on that, because your work. I really believe in the tagline of Nokia: the world is in your pocket. When you have a mobile, you feel that you have, or an iPad, you have everything. Okay, so everything you like to search digitally, but definitely going to a library and searching for books and journals, it has its own pleasure of doing a research. Books are definitely very, very important. Excuse me, give me a second, please. I'm disturbing you all a lot because my condition is really bad. Yeah. So, going to the library and searching is very, very interesting. And moreover, books, is something. Print books. They give you authentic information. But one of the most disadvantage of a print book is that it takes a long time for publication. So sometimes, the data in the books becomes becomes outdated. So you have to check on those. Peer-reviewed journals are there. Many peer-reviewed journals are there. Many articles are there. You must be having so many peer-reviewed journals of law where you can really go and search for the articles which can be of use for your review of literature. As I said, the world in your pocket. Although I do not favor Google, but Google Scholar is a subset of Google Web Search. So Google Scholar is something which deals with scholarly literature. It deals with the papers, the theses, the books, and the reports. So Google Scholar definitely is a very important source of your review of literature, because in Google Scholar, you have got large number of articles of every subject, large number of articles, large number of books, the thesis, abstracts, court opinions. Yes, you get court opinions also, technical reports, conference papers. So friends, if you are not going into Google Scholar and if you're doing PhD, please try it out today evening itself. You will find you will get innumerable sources for your review of literature. And Google Scholar has got many advantages also. I am coming to it. You can easily search a journal. Okay, suppose you're searching a journal on criminal law. You write down criminal law of India, criminal law of USA. You have to be specific. You write it down and you get innumerable journals. Now it is not possible for you to read all the journals at one go. So for what you can do, there is an option called building libraries. You can easily choose the articles which will be of your use and save it in the library. As you keep on adding, so whatever is of your use, you add something to the library. And whenever you have time, you can open your library and you can read those articles. This is a very, very important positive point of a Google Scholar. Please try it out because you have innumerable scholarly articles in Google Scholar. You can even set up alerts. As I said, maybe your topic is Russia-Ukraine conflict. What were the laws pertaining to it and what were the laws which were not concerned in it? So you can easily there is an option called set up alerts. You can easily type there Russian-Ukraine conflict and put your email ID. Whenever a new article or a new book will be added up, automatically it will come in your email ID. So this setting up alerts is also a very, very important feature of Google Scholar. And all this, why I am telling you, because it makes your review of literature not only interesting, but very, very easy as well. For citations also, review the Google Scholar is very easy because you just have to put in all the informations and you will have to write what type of styles you require. You require an APA style, MLA style, what style you require. You put in that and instantly your reference it comes in your way. So you don't have to look into it. In fact, in 10 minutes, you can complete your full bibliography. So all these features are there in Google Scholar, which will make your review of literature much more easier. Not only that, you have advanced search also, an option of advanced search. In advanced search, what will happen? You can also decide the dates. Take, for example, you're dealing with criminal laws. You don't want the old papers. You want the papers which are published after 2012. So there is an option since 2012. If you put that option, only those papers will come which were published after 2012. So this type of options, you can make use of it for writing a literature review. Just like Google Scholar, you have Google Books. You have many open access journals. So if it is not there in your college library, You can always go to the university library and search for these open access journals. In these open access journals also, large number of articles and books are available which can be used for review of literature. I have just named a few, like Justor is there, Abesco is there. Always remember, when you're writing a literature review, don't stick to one type of source. Take, for example, you're sticking to only books and few journals. Don't do that. It becomes very, very traditional, and it becomes very, very boring also. For your subject like law, you can always mix up with books, journals, with newspaper articles, private journals or diary entries, some letters, some edited collection, or some sound recordings, maybe video recording, TV and film recordings, magazines, personal interviews. You know best. So you have to mix up your sources. This is a step. This is an indication of a good and interesting literature review. Whatever you read, whether it is a book or a journal, when you are reading it, please read strategically. Don't read as if you are reading a storybook. Read it strategically. Write down, highlight some of the important words. Take the notes, store it properly. First, read it. Go deep into it. Dig deeper into it. You should be engrossed when you read it. Otherwise, you will forget what ideas you have to take and write for your review of literature. As I said, the best way you can search your review of literature is keyword search. For example, you're dealing with criminal laws. You can say criminal laws in India. You can say criminal laws or the loopholes in India, whatever. Okay, so you have to find out the keywords, and then keep on searching. Sometimes a new form of searching is what you know. Suppose you are referring to one research article. In every research article, there is a reference. They have taken care of some reference. Go to the reference, and those reference books also you search. This is called backward chronological search. Take for example, you are reading a paper by me. I have given some reference. Maybe I have referred to a book by Agarwal. What you do, you write book by criminal law by Agarwal, you search it, and then look into that book also. This is called backward chronological search. What is forward chronological search? Sometimes the researchers identifies articles that cite the original article. Okay, which article you are citing, or afterwards, suppose I have a paper on criminal law of 2020. You try to find out whether I have done any other paper on criminal law after 2020 or not. This is called forward chronological search. So this way, you can get hold of more ideas, more books, more journals, more papers, which you can include then in the review of literature. Whenever you are, again I'm repeating, whenever you are taking hold of some books or research articles, please maintain this type of table where you write down the quotes or whatever you have taken, what idea. If quotes are not there, put a dash. Secondly, you write down who is the author, who is the publication, which year, which pages, and then do the interpretation. Write the interpretation, what you think about that work. Okay, so critically, you're analyzing somebody's work. So if you write like this, what will happen at the end? You will not lose track, because you might be searching 100 books. You might be searching 200 books if it is a proper PhD. So you will be, no one can remember from what book, what ideas have you taken. So whenever you read it for your review of literature, please write it out. Whenever you are citing it, write in-text citation. Take, for example, you have taken a paper on criminal law by me, Datta. So you write Datta 2020. That means there is you have taken this idea from a paper, from a book written by Datta in 2020. And in the reference, you write the full thing. That means the title of the paper, the publication date, in which book it has come, what was the edition, who is the publisher, and so on. That means what? Whatever is written in the reference should come in the in-text citation. Now, we have completed our search for literature review. You have got hold of for 50, 100 literature reviews. You have put it out. You have written what ideas you have taken. You have written all the important points, the author, the publication, the book, and so on. Now the time has come to organize the review. Whenever you're organizing the review, you can organize it in 5 different ways. Number 1 is chronological, according to date. Number 2 is strength, that how something is changing over time. Something thematic, based on themes. Methodological, that means according to how the research was conducted. Theoretical, what were the theories taken? But I tell you, my friends, chronological is the most acceptable one. Always try to write the literature review according to dates, one by one. 1972, 1990, 2000, 2004, 2010, you can organize it in a proper manner. Sometimes a question comes, how to keep, sometimes we lose out. Okay, maybe we have some papers, we lose out. I always tell my students, remember a drawer. Different ideas, you put it in the different drawers of like if you have a hard copy. So at the end of the day, when you really sit and write, you can open up one drawer and you can write it down and keep it back. So different drawers, different ideas. Sometimes, sometimes maybe you're dealing with some cases of death penalty. You have a concept that death penalty reduces violent crimes, while others find it as no effect on violence. So what will you find? If you're working on death penalty, you have 2 ideas. One is it reduces violent crime, and other one is it does not reduce. It has got no effect on crimes. So if you have found out 2 types of literature, in one drawer you keep death penalty reduces violent crime. In the other drawer you put death penalty does not reduce violent crime. It has got no effect on violence. So when you are writing, you will have both at separate places. You can write it and then put your own views also. This is the way you should always organize. Same thing, different organization. For literature review, you have to add certain reviews from the history. In fact, in law, taking care of the past cases is very, very important. So you should be intelligent enough to understand which ideas I will take it from history, from the past, and which literature review I will take it from the current situation. How to write? So I have collected it. First of all, I have planned it. Then I've collected it. Then I have organized it. And now the time has come to write it. Whenever I'm writing a literature review, always remember that your literature review has got 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. In the introduction, you should write what is the focus, the purpose of the literature review. What is your topic? Criminal law is my topic, and I have tried to focus that what are the works has been carried on in criminal law. That should be your introduction. Then the body. In the body, as I said, write down according to time frame, according to chronological manner, what did everyone said. In the conclusion, write down critical appreciation, whether you agree with XYZ or you agree with ABC, whatnot. That will give you a critical view. Once you write down the literature review, you really know that when your topic is criminal law, how different people have dealt it differently. What different people dealt with and what different people did not deal with. What different people did not deal with becomes a missing part in your literature. That is called the gap. You can take up that missing part of the literature and involve it in your own study. This will give the newness of the research which you will be conducting. So if we see the steps of give me a second. So if we see the steps of literature review, first is to choose the topic. Second is to find the resources. Third is to refine it. Fourth is to read it and analyze it. And the last is to write it. Always remember, if you see the picture, people are running from one mountain cliff to the other. But as the person is running from one to the other, there is something missing in it. This is called the gap in research. Your literature review will definitely give you a better idea about the subject which has already been studied by others. What they have found out about your topic. Your topic is criminal law. You will be able to understand how different people have worked in research about criminal law. You will be able to understand that what gaps are not filled, what studies are required to be there, but it is not done. That is the gap in research. So you can make a suggestion of future research. In review of literature, making links between the study is very, very important. Often when you write, as I said, in the last paragraph, you should always give your own views. You can always write like this. Similarly, author B points out. Likewise, author C writes about this. Author D makes this a point. This type of sentences you can add, which your reading of the literature review will become much more easier. However, author B points out. On the other hand, author C makes the case like this. Conversely, author D argues. These are the ways, these words you can use of how to write down a literature review. So friends, whenever you find a gap through the literature review, what can you say that increases your confidence? It broadens the knowledge base. Take, for example, you are dealing with a topic called mental illness and crime. You can easily find out. First of all, I will find out the keywords. Mental illness is one word, crime is another word. Now, crime is a huge word actually. Okay, so you can find out different types of studies which are carried on in mental illness and crime, different types of studies which are carried on in India as well as abroad. And then you can find out what is not covered, what study has not been done at all as far as mental illness and crime is there. You can take it up that. So you can easily prove it through literature review that how much your research is so very important. Feminist criminology, it is a new branch. You must be knowing much better than me. So it is a new branch. So if you want to deal with that, you can easily go and find out from the different library. You can go to Google Scholar, you can go to Google Books, and you can find out how many people have really studied about feminist criminology. If many people have not studied, you can say it is a rising new branch and you can study. You can be the first one to do a research on feminist criminology. For example, cyber crimes. You see, there are so many laws of cyber crimes are there, but still, don't you feel cyber crimes are happening? So don't you feel sometimes, if I would have been a law student, I would have said, are the laws outdated for this type of crime? If laws are really outdated, that is why even if we are having laws, such a lot of cyber crimes are happening, new types of cyber crimes are happening. So you can go to literature review and find out. Hashtag the Me Too movement which we had and its legal consequences. So many Me Too movements were found to be false. Okay, don't you feel there should be legal consequences for them also? Juvenile courts and juvenile justice. I was just reading the other day. You know, in juvenile justice, some of the small children, no, they have been put in the same place with the hardcore criminals. That should not be the way. It is so. You know, there are so many new concepts in your subject. So how can you prove it? You can prove it only by review of literature, only by finding out from different sources. What are the sources? I have told you. You can go to the library, you can have the Google Scholar, you can go into the newspapers, you can go into the so many court justices which you have. Okay, you can see and you can prove that studies has not been done. And you can easily study about them. So literature review, my friends, you can understand it is so very important in your research. It not only helps you to find out gaps, but it also helps you to become disciplined. You know, you find out year by year, author by author, who have really studied about my topic. So it is something called discipline. And at the same time, you can identify the gap. Identification of the gap is very, very important. Very, very important in research. What are the common errors which we make in writing a literature review? I told you, na. Please use varied length of sentences. Long 10 lines ka sentences, please don't use. Never ever use single paragraphs. The literature review has to be divided into 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The body also, if need be, you can divide into parts. The introduction will be what you are dealing with, what you are reviewing, which literature are you reviewing. Body will be according to the year, how you put the literature review one after the other, and conclusion will be your ideas. Do not use emotional words. In research, there is nothing called emotion. I felt. No one is bothered about how I feel. Everyone is bothered what I find with a proof. That is called a research. Okay. And sometimes, you know what happens, just to increase, my guide has said to find out 100 literature review. Okay, kuch bhi chalta hai. So they do not relate to your research problem at all, but you write it down, feeling that no one will see, but people see. So never ever write something which is not related to your research topic. You know, it gives a wrong notion about the researcher. Don't do that. Maybe less. Even 50 bhi chalta hai, nothing will happen, but you have to prove your point. You have to prove that whatever you're doing is correct. You have to prove whatever you are doing is not done by somebody else. Then only your research is a proper one. Writing style, as it happens, it has to be very, very academic, very, very formal. Don't use isn't. I tell my student, what is isn't? I don't want to understand. Is not. Please don't use contractions. Isn't, didn't, never. They are all informal. You have to be very, very formal, very, very impersonal, very, very specific, very, very neutral when you're writing a review of literature. Think before you write. No gender neutral languages. Don't favor any gender. No. The flow will be proper. You know, as if you're reading something, it is something very interesting. Acha, 1974 mein somebody studied about criminal law this, 1980 mein this, 1990 mein this. So the flow should be very, very clear, and definitely you should paraphrase. You know, you can use quotes, but be very particular when you use the quotes, because, you know, sometimes it gets hold in plagiarism. Okay, plagiarism is also a topic here. So paraphrasing is very, very important. I generally don't prefer using much of quotes. So if you follow these writing styles, I am sure your review of literature will come out fantastically, and definitely it will impact the quality of your research. Sometimes, you know, if you give a student something, they will say, Madam, kitna dhoonda, kuch bhi nahi mila, nothing is available. There is nothing called nothing is available. You know, I was doing my PhD on medical geography, and I was the first person to do it on medical geography in Calcutta University. I can understand something is not there in medical geography, but something must be there in medical science. Something must be there in geography. So allied mein kuch to milega. Sometimes no, people come and say, oh, it's too much. I really don't know which one to take and which one not to take. That is your researcher's mind. Use your researcher's mind to understand. No one will come and say you take this and you do not take that. See which one is relevant and which one is not. How can you see? You need two things for that. Number one is time, and number two is your analytical mind. Review of literature, I feel, starts before you even think of researching on something and ends when you really go and submit your research. It is so vast. No one can say, "Mera review of literature khatam ho gaya." No. As you dig deeper into the research, your review of research is also going on. That is why never say it's all been done. How many references, madam? How many? No, nothing called how many. Till you find a gap, keep on doing. How much time you require? I require to do my PhD, to do my literature review. You have come at the wrong place. Okay, I said I've spent 8 years to do my research on medical geography. And my friends, I'm so proud of my PhD today. You know, I've done, when I was doing my PhD in the management, I've done it from UK. Then I finished in 2 years because the researcher's mind was going on. But my first PhD took 8 years. So it depends upon the it depends upon the topic, it depends upon your experience, but please give time to research. Writing process, once you write, it is final? No. You should have a rough draft. You should have a final draft. Edit again. Editing never ends. If you edit and edit, then only it will be final. So, when you are writing a review of literature, think of a sandwich, okay? As if the bread is there on the top, which is your introduction. You have really something tasty in the middle, which is the body. So many people have studied about your topic. And at the end, you are analyzing which one you like and which one you don't. Why you do not like and why you like something. What is missing? That is another bread at the bottom. If you really follow this concept of a tasty sandwich, your review of literature will come out to be an excellent one. Now, my review of literature is over. I'm setting objectives. From where will I get the objectives? From the problem. Research is something you're trying to find a solution. You are dealing with a problem. A problem can be anything, a theory, day-to-day problem, any research studies, discussion with experts also, you can get a problem, any innovation, this innovation generally is for scientific subjects. So there should be a problem. Whenever you have a problem, from that problem, you can develop your objective. So I say objectives are the aims to satisfy it. What are you going to do in your research? Never. So how to write the objectives? Never, use words like to study. Why to study? You have to do research. You can go to the library and study, na? To investigate. We are not in CID na, that we are investigating. Write different words to determine, to develop, to solve. All this, what happens, it arouses interest among the readers. Your objectives should be something very, very logical. Your objective should not be neither too many or too less, neither too big or not too small. It should be achievable. Take, for example, I belong to remote sensing. I belong to geoinformatics and geography. I cannot write an objective to find out whether we can live in Mars or not after 50 years. For that, I have to go to the Mars, no? So I have to think whether really I can go to Mars or not. So don't write an objective which you cannot fulfill. Always write an objective in such a manner. That is a clever mind, analytical mind of a researcher. Always write the objective in such a manner which is achievable, which is measurable. Take, for example, you are doing a research in future of crimes. How will I write the objective? To identify and examine literature that addresses the future of crime. To determine the organizations that have developed crime predictions. Future of crimes is a very, very important topic which is coming up in law now. You must be, you all must be aware to analyze the strength and weaknesses of the existing forecast. You are forecasting crimes, but there should be some strength and weaknesses, which as a researcher you should understand, to provide recommendation to whom? The Department of Justice on future researches. So don't you feel, my dear friends, that the objectives which we have set here is something which is easily measurable and which is easily achievable? I think yes. So always read your objectives very well, find out the problem, and from the problem develop the objectives. And whenever you write your objectives, generally 3 to 4 objectives are enough, and always write 2 identified, 2 determined, because you are going to do it. Hypothesis, very important. From the object, these are all linked. Problem, identify problem. From the problem, develop the objectives. From the objectives, develop the hypothesis. Explain what is expected to occur. Clear and understandable. Testable, because you are writing yes or no. You have to accept one hypothesis and you have to reject the other. So if you have to accept one and reject another, there should be proofs. Now it should be testable. It should be measurable. And for you now, testing is very easy because you have the court verdicts. I will come to an example on that. Whenever you're so whenever you take write the hypothesis, you should always write. You should always have independent variable and dependent variable. Always you should have it. Okay. Now, what is this independent variable and dependent variable? Some people, we really find it difficult to remember independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable causes the change in the dependent variable. Remember this. Take, for example, time spent studying causes change in test score. So, time spent studying is an independent variable. If time spent studying is more, your test score is good. That is dependent variable. If time spent studying is less, your test score is also less. So independent variable is time spent studying, and test score is depending on the time you're spending on studying. So test score is a dependent variable and time spent studying is a independent variable. We generally, whenever we do this hypothesis, we develop a null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. Now, in null hypothesis, there is no effect, and in alternate hypothesis, there is an effect. Let us study a case in law. You have to excuse me if there are some mistakes, because I, being a geographer, have tried to intrude into the field of law. Let us take a criminal case. Okay. On 29th November 2012, a group of men broke into the house of Mahesh Mathur, a millionaire tech investor living in Silicon Valley. Fine. They tied him, blindfolded him, just look at it, and gagged him with mustache printed duct tape. That means he was totally covered. His nose and all were totally covered. They plundered the house for cash and jewelry. The victim was found dead, with the coroner later in concluding that he was suffocated by the mustache tap. Obviously, the nose was covered, and so he was suffocated and he expired. 3.5 weeks later, police arrested Lucas Antuno, someone else, and charged him with the murder. Let us see this case. I develop a null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis, the defendant is innocent of the murder charge. An alternative hypothesis, the defendant is guilty of a murder charge. Now I have to accept one and reject the other. Significance level. Significance level is a threshold level, you know. The significance level you can find out from quantitatively in SPSS. You can, through statistics, I mean to say, you can also do it, theoretically, qualitatively. So we will try to find out the threshold, and we will try to find out the point where we try to reject our null hypothesis. This threshold is known as the significance level. And at the end of the hypothesis, we can either reject the null hypothesis. What is our null hypothesis? He was innocent. Or the decision of rejecting the null hypothesis is based on the strength of evidence. We should have evidence. Then only we can say he was innocent. Let us see what evidence we have. DNA of the defendant found in fingernails of the victim. That is a very strong point, okay? That the defendant's, this one, DNA was found in the fingernails of the victim. That means they were in touch. Criminal history of the defendant, several petty crimes. One serious conviction of residential burglary. Homeless, mental health disorder, and strong alcohol addiction. I don't know, my friends, what do you feel? I do not have a degree in law, but as a normal common man, it appears to me that the evidences which are present in this case is not strong enough to prove that the defendant is guilty. Definitely, we can say the DNA was found on victim's body, but there can be many other reasons why it was found. But several petty crimes are there. That does not mean that he has done this crime also. He was involved in a burglary, but that does not mean he has murdered also. He has a disturbed background. That does not mean that he can do this crime also. So my friends, whenever you develop this hypothesis, you can either prove it with the help of statistics quantitatively, or in your subject with the help of law. So my presentation was understanding the research, literature review, what you should do in a literature review, how you should do a literature review, from the literature review, how the research gaps can be found, how from the problems you can develop the objectives, how you can develop the hypothesis, and with the help of an example from your esteemed subject of law, I have tried to prove whether really qualitatively you can prove an hypothesis or not. I'm very thankful again for giving me an opportunity to speak in this platform. I wish good luck to all my researcher colleagues. Thanks a lot. Over to you. Over to you. Thank you. Hello. I think I'm able to give justice to the subject of law. If unknowingly I have done something wrong with the subject, you have to excuse me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. It is my honor and privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of this event. It is rightly said that feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. On behalf of SNS Law College, I, Assistant Professor Mohit Raikar, would like to thanks to our respected and most distinguished speakers of the day, Dr. Moshmi Datta. It was indeed a privilege to have Dr. Moshmi Datta, eminent and innovative personality, as a guest lecturer in the first day FDP program. Her insightful lecture on Introduction to Research, Literature Review, Identification of Research Gaps, Settings of Objectives and Hypotheses. She provided us with full of fruitful information. Even with the teachers were enlightened by our enlightening talk, I feel the teachers and professors who attended this lecture will be able to extract best results in their research and out of students by applying these tips in their research project. Once again, I thank you, ma'am, for having spared your precious time for all of us. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our Honorable Director, Mrs. Ankita Gupta, ma'am, and our respected management head, Mrs. Nikita Panda, ma'am, and who graced this event and for having organized this wonderful lecture. Your encouragement and support made this event successful as it always does. A special thanks to Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman, RFI, Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, sir, CMD, RFI, and Professor Ajay Jain, sir, Head Central India Board, RFI, for being a source of inspirations and sponsoring this event. Also, I like to thank our respected Principal Director, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, sir, HOD Law Professor Rahul Joshi, sir, and HOD Management, Dr. Parul Sharda, ma'am, for his contribution in amplifying our knowledge and for letting us connect to the world of understanding. And this and in this last, I am really very thankful to all the participants and the students for joining us in this stream of knowledge flowing through SNS Law College. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moshmi Datta. It was indeed always a nice experience listening to you.
Thank you. My voice was not on my side today.
Yes, ma'am. We know that you are not well. Still, you have delivered your best.
No.
as
That is
always.
my
Yes,
duty.
ma'am.
That is my duty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.